I picked just 15? This is like insane. Hello friends, I'm Nikki and welcome back to my channel. I upload on Mondays, Thursdays, and Fridays, yet I also do surprise uploads. That's why you need to subscribe. Just join the party and click that button and then you will get notified. If you have already subscribed, thank you so much. I greatly do appreciate it. So we're going to be doing another Let's Chat video today, and this is going to be another favorites list. All the ones I've done in the past have been related to wigs. This time it is going to be related to makeup, specifically eyeshadow palettes. We're going to go over my top 15 favorite palettes. This is not going to be a montage video. I have got each and every one right here. I'm going to show it to you as I discuss it. So if you are interested in seeing these and knowing all about them, then you better just keep on watching. All right, everybody, so we are going to be going over my top 15 favorite eyeshadow palettes. Just like wigs, I always purchase new palettes, so my opinion may end up changing. I'm sure it probably will over time, but as of right now, these are my top 15 favorite palettes. Before I get into them, just need to go over one little thing first. There's a lot of controversy going on in the beauty industry right now, especially all over social media, and I know some people have chosen not to purchase products from brands that have any controversy going on with them. I get it, I understand it, and I also respect it. I, however, still do purchase products from these brands just because I see things a little bit differently, and I just want you to understand. Basically, in one hand, you've got the person causing all the controversy. The other hand, you have the actual cosmetics company. Yeah, it's true, they are connected, yet they're still separate entities. So when I make a purchase, I don't see it as supporting that individual directly, but rather the entire company as a whole, because that company has a lot of employees that need to support themselves and their families just like everybody else has to. And also, these cosmetic companies aren't in their kitchens making this makeup themselves. They have laboratories that do that instead, and these laboratories also have employees. So the same thing applies. I just see things from a macro level rather than from a micro level. And because my list may contain some brands that have controversy going on in them, I felt it was important for me to explain this so that way there is no misunderstanding. So now that that's out of the way, one last and final thing I always get asked is what wig I'm wearing in these Let's Chat videos. So today I'm wearing Rena. She is from Motown Tress, and just a little secret, I purchased two of her, so I have another one that is listed in my Poshmark closet in case you're interested in her. So now that that's out of the way, let's get on with this list. As always with my lists, they are in no particular order. So let's get started. And a list would not be a list if it didn't include Juvia's Place. Juvia's Place makes amazing palettes as well as other makeup. So starting off, I have got the Nubian Royal palette. This is just a simple 6-pan palette of purples. You've got 3 mattes and 3 shimmers, and I love the different shades of purple in here, so you can really build it up, start out really simple and then make it more bold and colorful. I think this is a really good palette. Sometimes you don't need a huge palette to make a beautiful look. All you need is this. So I think that the quality is outstanding. Of course, my list is going to contain palettes that I reach for most and have excellent quality, and that's why this had to be on there. So definitely very, very good, and also really affordable. That's another good thing about the Juvia's Place palettes. So going on with Juvia's Place, I have got the Sweet Pinks palette. This is another simple 6-pan, but of course this time it's pinks. I love how you have got a more simple pink and then a really bright, bold fuchsia pink. So again, you can really build it up. You can make something really bright and colorful or something very simple too. So this is a really nice palette as well, and had to put these both on the list. So next up, I have got BH Cosmetics. This is the Mimosa palette. This one is really super good. I actually have just been getting into BH Cosmetics lately. I think the quality is outstanding and very affordable too. So this is a good palette for making a beautiful pink or even a yellow and orange sunset look. You can really do a lot with this. You have got some mattes. You've also got some shimmers. The pigmentation is really, really good. There's no patchiness with these shades either. So this palette is one I do end up reaching for a lot when I want to have just something more springy. That's what I think of with this palette. So, Mimosa. Next up, I have got the She's in Parties palette from Melt Cosmetics. I know that this palette a lot of people love, which is why it's sold out everywhere right now. But this one is amazing. Melt Cosmetics, yeah, these melt on your eyes. These shades are stunning. You have some transition shades and some more lighter shades, but then you have got the really deep mauve and burgundy colors in here too. So this is great for a really bold, dramatic, smoky eye, but again, you can make something more muted if you want to. But the quality of these, I can't get over how good this palette is. So I know that everybody loves this palette that has purchased it, so I agree with that. On the list. Next up, I have got the Dream Big Manifest palette from Be Perfect Cosmetics. This one I have been reaching for a lot lately, and this is why. Just look at that. Look at these colors. You've got every color you need right here. Once again, you have got mattes, you have got shimmers. You can create so many beautiful looks with this palette. Obviously, you can go something more colorful and then obviously something more neutral. Tongue-tied. The possibilities are basically endless with this palette. Quality is really, really good. And I purchased this from Beauty Bay, if I'm not mistaken. And it was actually pretty affordable. So I highly recommend this palette, and I had to put it on my list since I use it so much. All right, next up, I did a video with this one. It's the Natasha Denona Circo Loco palette. If you love color, you're gonna love this palette. Yeah, and let me tell you something. This is the most expensive palette that I own. I kind of am still beating myself up over spending the money on it, but you know what? It was worth it. I love this palette. The colors are so vibrant and gorgeous. They look really super good on the eye. There is no patchiness. You don't need a whole lot either to build it up. It just really shows. So this is an amazing palette. You've got some gorgeous colors in here. Obviously some mattes and shimmers as well. So this is really beautiful palette and very good quality. It better be for the price. So anyway, moving on. Next up, I have got the Nikki Tutorials collab palette with Beauty Bay. This one, first of all, they put a little card in here that explains all the shades as well as how to apply them, but this is what you got. And again, really beautiful color story here. But I will be honest with you, this is one that I don't reach for a whole lot to create an entire look with, but rather just grab a color or a shade or two. But you know what, that's fine. Everybody is different. I still have created complete looks with this too, but what I love most about this palette is the shimmers. They are really beautiful. You've got some golds, obviously more of like a silver, and then some pinks and peach and blue, basically everything you need right here. So this is a really super good palette, and even though it tells you on the card here that you can apply the shimmers with a brush, I highly recommend that you apply it with a finger. That's just my opinion on that one. Just wanted to throw that out there, but I really do think this is a really good palette, and also another one that was affordable. Next up, I have got the Glam Light Ice Cream Dream palette. I love the sprinkle things on here. And now packaging, yes, I like packaging. It's cute, along with some of these other palettes too. But to be honest with you, what I care most about is the quality. It could be in an unmarked plastic container for all I care, as long as it works good. But yeah, the packaging can be fun too. But what makes this palette on the list is this. Yeah. You can't go wrong with this one either. Every color imaginable. You can go really light and colorful, bright and airy, to something much more warm. You got everything you need right here in this particular palette. And again, you've got shimmers, you've got mattes, you've got everything. So you can create so many looks with this palette. And not only that, but of course the quality is super good. So I love this palette a lot. Next up, I have got the Naughty palette, Naughty Nudes actually, from Huda Beauty. This is another palette that I created an eye look for you in a video where I actually used this palette and compared it to the fake one. Obviously this one was much better, but definitely a great palette to reach for if you are looking for something neutral and nudes. But I love the quality of this palette because the shades really do show up amazingly on the eye. You don't need a whole lot either. A little bit does go a very long way. I love the way that they did the colors in here, how it swirls together and some of these shimmers and everything. I think that's really cool. And the shimmers actually are my favorite of this palette. That's just me. I'm not saying that the mattes aren't good, obviously. They truly are, but I think this is a very good palette. It is a little bit more pricey. I think it's between $67 and $69, but it's, again, another palette I think is worth every penny. Now, next up, though, I've got another palette from Huda Beauty, and this is the New Nudes palette. Now, I know what you might be thinking, why would I need both? But it's because they're not exactly the same. In fact, I'll be honest with you, sometimes I will actually mix and match these two together. You can create some gorgeous looks by doing that. So obviously you can use one or the other, combine the two together, but I think as a pair they're outstanding. There are a couple of pressed glitters in this palette that I actually have not used yet. That is on my to-do list, but I love these shades too. They're really beautiful to create a nice neutral look. So they both had to be on there. Next up, I have got an indie brand. Now, just so you know, indie brands really need to go on the radar a little bit more because you can find like a diamond in the rough with these. So this one is the Norns palette from Odin's Eye. Speaking of packaging, look how cute that is and pretty. But this palette is, this brand I mean, is from Sweden. So if you do order this, you have to wait quite a while to get it, but it's worth the wait. Now, I will be honest, the color story isn't exactly my favorite, but why this one is on the list is the quality. This is a palette that I reach for if I'm just looking for a shade or two, just like I was with with the other one, but the greens on here are my favorite. The greens, the blues, of course you've got this really beautiful orange. So yes, you can create an entire look with this palette or just use it to grab a shade or two like I mentioned. It doesn't really matter. These shades are really super good quality. Now, the only thing is these shimmers you definitely need to apply with a finger. They do not work at all with a brush, just a little FYI. But you know what? A lot of shimmers are that way, so not a big deal. All right, next up I've got another indie brand, and this is Kaleidos. This is a brand out of China, so it's another one you do have to wait for. And this is Club Nebula, which is collaboration with a YouTuber, Angelica. I'm going to butcher her last name, so I'm not going to say it. I don't want to mess it up. But anyway, this is a really good packaging too, so if you are traveling, it's going to be really secure. But look at these. Yeah, I'll tell you something. This palette I had to wait a super, super long time for because it had to launch 3 times before I got it. It sold out the last 2 times, but I think it was definitely worth it. You can create some really gorgeous looks with this. What I reach for the most with this one are like this green and these blues here, and then mixing it with the shimmer. So some of the shimmers in here are actually like a duochrome, so you got that beautiful shift. So this is stunning, a really stunning, stunning palette. And of course the quality is outstanding. By the way, all of these that I have mentioned, as far as the quality goes, you don't have that much kickback in the pan. So that's another thing I forgot to mention. Next up, I have got the Cremated palette from Jeffree Star Cosmetics, and I know a lot of people hated this palette when it came out because the name came out and coincided with the coronavirus, so people thought that was in bad taste. But anyway, aside from that, if you are looking for a smoky eye, this is your dream palette right here. I know the color story isn't all that. It's basically just browns, grays, and blacks. But again, if you're looking for a smoky eye, you are covered with this palette. In fact, this one, whenever I do reach for it, I have a hard time deciding which shades to use because they're all super gorgeous, especially with like these silvers. You got all different kinds of tones of silver and gray. You of course have got some browns in here too to do a more brown smoky eye. And this palette is super, super good. I actually do like the quality of Jeffree Star Cosmetics. I know that's one that has got a lot of controversy going on with him, but I do like this palette a lot. So next up, I have got the Morphe Jaclyn Hill Volume 2 palette. I also did a video and created an eye look with this one. And if anybody else out there is doing a list, this one will probably be on theirs too. You're covered with this one too. Look at that. Every color practically imaginable is in this palette. Very, very beautiful, bright, vibrant colors. And then you also have the deeper colors over here to create a more bold, dramatic, and smoky eye. The only thing I'm not a big, huge fan of with this palette is the shimmers. That's just my opinion. Not that they're bad or anything. It's just that I don't reach for the shimmers quite as often as I do the mattes. But I do think the quality of all of them is really, really good. You can kind of tell that I've used this palette quite a bit. It's a little beat up, but it's some tender, loving care with it. Definitely that. So this one is a very, very good palette. Highly recommend that one too. And that's again why it's on my list. So now we are down to the last and final palette. And once again, we have got another one from Jeffree Star Cosmetics, and this is the Bloodlust palette. Now, I'm not the biggest fan of this packaging because it's very bulky and hard to store, but what's inside is where it's all about. I love purples. Purples and greens are my favorite, and this one is the one I reach for the most when I want to create a beautiful purple look. But you got more than just purples, of course, in here. You've got a red, you got some pink, kind of like a gold and green shade, and then more of like this turquoise color too, so you can really mix it up. And not only that, but this one may look like a black shade to you, but that is actually more like a deep eggplant, which is a shade that you don't see that often in the purple palettes, but I feel it should be included more often. So I'm really happy it was included with this one. But this palette is really, really super good. I think the quality is, of course, outstanding, as I already mentioned before, but you can do so much with this, really a whole lot. So I really think this is a good palette too. And that's it. I don't have any more. Now, I'll be honest, this was not easy to come up with this list, just like coming up with the list for my wigs aren't really that easy to do either. It is a challenge, but that's how I feel right now. I really think these are excellent palettes. That's why they are my favorites. And I would love to know if any of these are your favorites too, if you have them. And if any of you were kind of teetering on thinking about getting these, well, let me tell you, they are worth it. I highly recommend all the ones that I just showed you. Let me know your thoughts down below. Let me know if you have any of these palettes. And definitely if you would like to see me create an eye look with any of these, let me know that too in the comments. That's all I got for today's Let's Chat video. Thank you guys so much for watching. I always do appreciate that. And I'll just catch you all next time. Till then, toodaloo.